This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we're going to juice in the Omega Vert VRT330 juicer. But first I'm going to address in this video a couple of challenges that people have been having with the Omega Vert juicer. And it usually happens when somebody had a previous juicer and they're used to that kind of juicer. And then they get a new juicer and, you know, not all two juicers operate the same. Just like, you know, if you drive a Porsche and then you get a Volkswagen Bug or something, you know, two very different cars. One goes really fast, one goes slower, and totally different cars. So, you know, the Vert's a totally different kind of juicer than any other juicer ever made before. I mean, it was just recently released. It's a single auger, vertical style juicer, so it works a little bit different. And one of the things that it does do, it does make a little bit more pulpier juice than, say, a centrifugal ejection juicer. So if it's important to you to have a pulp-free juice, maybe the Vert juicer is not for you. There's definitely a juicer that will work for you, and you've got to figure out all the different criteria that you have, whether it's high nutrient quality, wants to juice, you know, a really high yield on leafy greens, or if you want to juice mostly carrots and apples, then, you know, maybe the centrifugal ejection. Do you want a long warranty? How much do you want to pay in that initial outlay? There's so many different factors to take into consideration, and for me personally, I still like the Omega Vert juicer overall because it's a balance of so many of the features. But one of the negatives that people do have is that it does make a pulpy juice. So in this video today, I will be addressing some of the ways to mitigate the extra pulpy juice. That's if you don't like pulpy juice. But you know what? Pulpy juice can be a great, huge benefit, because when you juice things and it's pulpier, especially things like I'm going to juice next, pineapple, when there's extra fiber in that juice, and that's what the pulp is, it's the extra fiber. It actually slows down the absorption of the sugars in that juice into your bloodstream. The same thing with carrot juice. You know, if you do have some fiber in there, it's going to basically not, you know, give you a sugar hit or sugar rush as fast. So it's going to be definitely better for you in that regard. And also, I've seen some testing that shows that, you know, juice that contains some level of fiber, the fiber actually acts as some kind of protection in the juice so that the juice will last fresher longer and not oxidize as quickly. So there are some benefits to the juice, you know, but some people don't like the juice because it tastes funny and, you know, it's too thick. So let me get right into that and show you how to mitigate this. Two simple ways. First off, the simplest way is just to buy a sieve. And, you know, buy a sieve. This was actually from the dollar store. It's a stainless steel sieve. And all you're going to do is put that over the collection jug. And as the juice comes out, it's going to run through the sieve. And undoubtedly, you will have to actually take off the sieve and, you know, empty it out and then put it back on. But that's one easy way to get less pulpy juice. And the next way we're going to do it, and this is the way we're actually going to do it right now, right here, we're going to use what's called a nut milk bag. This is also a nut milk bag, sprout bag it's also called, or if you don't have access to nut milk bags or sprout bags, go to your local paint store or big box home improvement store and ask for a nylon paint straining bag. It's pretty much the same thing. And what you're going to do is you're going to basically line the juice collection bowl with the nylon bag, and you're basically going to juice into the bag. And then when you're done, as you'll see in a minute, we're going to take this bag and just basically strain it out, and all the juice is going to go into the collection bowl and all the pulp's going to remain in the bag, and it's going to be that easy. So these are two simple ways, and I have a couple other ways that I'll talk about either at the end of this video or another video. So that being said, let's get juicing. So today we're going to juice a pineapple. So the easiest way to get the top off a pineapple is take it and twist it off, just like that. Real simple. Then next we're going to basically cut the pineapple. Now, if this was an organic pineapple, feel free to juice the skin and all, definitely good. This is not an organic pineapple, so I don't want to juice things with pesticides and stuff in it. So I'm going to cut it up really fast. To minimize pulp in the juice using the Omega Vert, it starts actually when you're shopping for your produce in the store or at your farmer's market, or hopefully if you're growing your own food in your own garden. You want to pick things that are nice and firm, not squishy, not old. They're not going to juice as well. So this is actually a nice firm pineapple, and that's really going to make juicing a lot easier. The Omega Vert juicer requires some amount of fiber to be juiced. So the problems arise when there's, you know, too little fiber or too much fiber. Too much fiber in the case of something like celery or kale. They have nice stringy fibers, and those tend to block up the pulp ejection chute. So we'll show you in another video or later in this video how we deal with that effectively so it actually doesn't clog it up. But let's get back to the pineapple. So in the pineapple, as you know, we have basically the fruit, which is the outside, and we have the core. Now the core is a lot more fibrous than the fruit part itself, and actually this is really good for the Vert juicer because you want to rotate feeding in the fruit part, which is the soft, and the hard fibrous part, because the hard fibrous part will help push things through the juicer, and the fruit part many times just kind of get mushed up in there, and it might back up and give you some problems, and that's because there's not enough fiber. The Vert juicer is one of the best juicers in my opinion after using many juicers to juice fruit. It gets a high yield, and be sure to check my other YouTube videos. I have a YouTube video on juicing all different kinds of fruits. I don't know, over a dozen different kinds in the Vert juicer, and you can actually see how it does it. It made some juices more of a nectar, so it was really rich and thick and not, you know, a thin juice, but, you know, that's just the nature of the fruit. And overall, you know, I do want to say that I recommend, you know, eating your fruit whole or blending it and actually juicing your vegetables, especially your dark green leafy vegetables. They're some of the most important things to juice. So we're going to cut this up, and we're cutting the pieces off. Some pieces we're going to have a lot of the fiber, a lot of the core, and some pieces we're not. And we're going to alternate feeding. So that's another tip to using the Omega Vert juicer. Say you're juicing, you know, apples, kale, and celery. You want to rotate what you're juicing in the Vert juicer. So you don't want to just put like all your celery, then all your carrots, then all your apples. That's not going to really work too well. You want to put like one stalk of celery, one stick of kale, one apple, one carrot, and then repeat. Then do a little bit of each one over and over and keep repeating until you're done juicing. And that's going to work a lot better than trying to put all of one thing, because the Omega Vert juicer likes different fibers going in at different times, and that helps push the pulp through the machine. So now we're going to juice the pineapple in the Omega Vert juicer. We're going to put through first the pieces without the fiber or without the core, and as soon as the machine we see start to back up, then we're going to put pieces with the fiber. So we're going to always try to put pieces without the fiber until it backs up, then put pieces with the fiber. And if you're juicing anything else, you could use that same technique. So you could put in like apple, apple, apple. Oh, it's starting to back up. Now put a carrot, or now put some celery, or now put some kale in, and then keep rotating. And it's just like riding a bike. You know, you're going to ride the bike. The first time you may have fell off the bike. You got to get back on the bike and keep trying. And just like anything in life, you know, there's a learning curve with getting a new juicer, or just, you know, a new juicer, whether it's your first juicer or any juicer. You know, it's always, you're just going to have to learn how the machine works, and you're going to have to work with it. So let's go ahead and turn it on. I do like about the Omega Vert juicer, runs at a low 70 to 80 RPMs or revolutions per minute. It's really quiet machine. It does, you know, excellent on fruits. Let's juice this pineapple. I'm ready for some pineapple juice. I've gotten some emails that say, hey John, I tried to juice pineapple in the Vert, it didn't work, you know, so I don't know, I've done at least a half dozen pineapples by now in the Omega Vert juicer, and it always does an amazing job, you know, for me. But I've also juiced pineapples and other juices where it tends to waste a lot and it doesn't work. And I mean, I was at a friend's house and using their Green Star juicer to juice pineapples, and you know what, it made a mess. It wouldn't juice pineapples straight. I had to actually juice pineapples, and it needed so much extra fiber. I had to actually use brown coconut meat to add a lot of fiber to that juicer to get that to work. But we're lucky with the Vert. You could pretty much use a lot of fruit and then some of the core fiber, and it'll help to get all that pulp through. The other thing that I've learned with the Omega Vert juicer, it's really important to have some patience in life and with the Omega Vert juicer. You need to let the machine work and run and not just keep cramming stuff in there. If you cramming stuff in there too fast, the machine may get in what's called a backup mode, and things will like literally back up in the machine, and then you'll get, you know, juice dripping out the bottom of the motor seal. And that happens because basically when you're juicing, the Omega Vert is so efficient that it's trying to squeeze every last bit of drop of juice out, and at some point the pulp's not being able to be ejected, so then the juice has to flow somewhere and the pulp has to flow somewhere, and the pulp will actually end up back in your juice. So here's the last piece of pineapple. Now it's very important, after you put that last piece of produce in, you want to let the machine run. I mean, I put it back in and most people would maybe stop the machine. If you stop it now, you're going to lose valuable juice, because when you take this apart, you're always going to see some residual pulp left in the Omega Vert juicer. That's just how it's designed, and that's completely normal. Every juicer, you'll always see some pulp left on the inside, whether it's a little bit or a lot. And now we're going to just take this bag and pull it up very slowly. and very gently squeeze out the juice into my collection cup. Now this is one whole pineapple, and I've got about 4 cups or over 4 cups of juice from one pineapple. Definitely a good yield for juicing pineapples. Pineapples can be very hard to juice. I think I pretty much got all of it out, and now we'll show you what's left inside here. And mainly you can see it's just all this fibrous material that's gotten past the screen, but that's completely normal. If you don't want it, filter it out. Alright, so I'm really thirsty after a hard day's work. I'm going to drink this delicious pulp-free pineapple juice. So this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.